Hello everyone. Let's talk about China today. Not the Great Wall or the dynasties, but the China that in just a few decades went from being a closed off, agrarian, almost forgotten nation to the world's second largest economy. It's a jaw dropping story of transformation driven by a few powerful people and a fundamental change in philosophy. It all starts right after the chaos of the Cultural Revolution with one man, Deng Xiaoping. After Mao's death, China was adrift, and Deng stepped in with a truly radical idea. He essentially said, "We are going to stop arguing about your communist theory and just focus on what works." This wasn't a move towards Western democracy, it was a pragmatic, almost ruthless focus on economic survival and growth. His famous motto, "To get rich is glorious," was a sort of about a U turn for a communist state. Deng introduced the policy of reform and opening up. This involved two massive shifts. The agricultural shift came first. He dismantled the collective farms and brought in the household responsibility system. Farmers could keep and sell any excess produce after meeting a state quota. This one change boosted food production instantly and lifted millions out of the abject poverty. Special economic zones. He designed specific coastal areas, places like Shenzhen, as laboratories for capitalism. They offered low taxes and cheap labor to attract foreign direct investment. The idea basically was to let them cross the river by feeling the stones. These zones were just economic. They were windows to the outside world. Shenzhen, a tiny fishing village, exploded into a global tech and manufacturing powerhouse almost overnight. The entire era operated under a foreign policy principle called hide your capabilities and bide your time. China was intentionally keeping a low profile, avoiding global conflicts, and just focusing on making money. The goal was simple: get rich, get strong, stay quiet. The foundation was laid, but the next two leaders, Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao, were the ones who truly cemented China's modern shape and managed its explosive growth. They were the technocrats. Jiang's major contribution was driving China's integration into the global system. This culminated in a massive game changing movement, China's accession to the World Trade Organization in 2001. This wasn't joining a club, it was a commitment to global trade rules which supercharged its export machine. China officially became the world's factory. Jiang also introduced the three represents theory, which was basically the party updating its mission statement to officially include not just workers and peasants, but also intellectuals and private entrepreneurs. It was a sort of new ideological stamp of approval for the new capitalist class. Hu Jintao followed, focusing on what he called the scientific outlook on development and building a harmonious socialist society. After decades of prioritizing growth at all costs, the country was struggling with widening wealth gaps, massive pollution, and social instability. Hu's policy was an attempt to manage these internal contradictions, to balance economic growth with social equity and environmental protection. But he was still focused on peaceful development, using soft power to build relationships, particularly in Africa and Latin America. By the end of the Hu's tenure in 2012, manufacturing behemoth and a global player that China had become into, it suddenly started changing its policy. Structurally, it faced huge problems: rampant corruption, severe environmental damage, and a powerful, fragmented leadership structure known as collective leadership. This is where our story shifts dramatically. In 2012, Xi Jinping took power. The era of keeping a low profile was officially over. Xi looked at the country and saw a nation powerful enough to assert itself, but plagued by internal rot. He decided that time for biting was past. The time for action and control had arrived. Xi's time is characterized by a radical centralization of power and a far more assertive nationalistic posture both at home and abroad. Xi's domestic agenda is simple: total control of the party, the economy, and the information space. His first major move was the years long corruption campaign. While popular with the public, it was also a powerful tool for purging political rivals, dismantling the old collective leadership structure, and consolidating his personal authority. Or maybe that is what Western media wanted us to believe. He now holds unprecedented power as China's core leader, even abolishing presidential term limits. And then came the economic shift. The goal was no longer just quantity of growth, but quality. The new buzzword is dual circulation. This strategy aims to reduce China's reliance on foreign markets, external circulation, and boost domestic demand and technological self-reliance, also known as internal circulation. Initiatives like Made in China 2025 aggressively push for dominance in high-tech fields like artificial intelligence, robotics, and clean energy, aiming to become the world leader and less dependent on Western technology. And then comes the ideological tight. The party's control over daily life has intensified. The crackdown on dissent in Xi Jinping and Hong Kong is part of the broader push for national unity. However, the party's control over daily life has also intensified. The crackdown on dissent in Xinjiang and Hong Kong is part of a broader push for national unity. Furthermore, Xi's foreign policy has fundamentally replaced the low profile kind of approach, and he now has introduced a major country diplomacy, with China is prominent. Under Xi Jinping, China basically threw away its old playbook of the whole stay quiet, stay low key vibe and replaced it with something bold, loud, and unapologetic. They call it major country diplomacy, and this new attitude is China saying to the world, we are here, we are powerful, and we are shaping the future of our own country on our own terms.